All right. So first, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today for this information session on the mini grants for the K-12 educators teaching native content, which opened December 18th and will close on January 22nd. My name is Josh Johnson, and I'm a program officer here at the Minneapolis Foundation. Rebecca Crook-Stratton, Odia Wood-Kruger, Joanne Stately, and Maria Andrew join me today. Rebecca is the Secretary-Treasurer at the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community. Odia is an educational consultant working with the Shakopee community. And Joanne is the Senior Vice President of Impact at the Minneapolis Foundation. And Maria Andrews, the Grants Administrator for the Impact team. During our time together today, we'll walk through the program goals, the grant guidelines and eligibility, what we will fund, and the application submission process. We'll hold 10 minutes at the end to answer a few questions from the Q&A feature here. So as we're moving through the slides, we invite you to drop your questions into that question feature. We will answer those as they become pertinent to the presentation or at the end. I also welcome you to reach out to myself, Odia, or Maria if your question does not get answered through this process or you have a more specific question. All right, so let's dive in. I'd like to share just what the Minneapolis, or who the Minneapolis Foundation and the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community are. The Minneapolis Foundation is a community foundation that was founded in 1915 and has a robust history of over 100 years of supporting communities in Minneapolis and the surrounding suburbs. We believe that those closest to issues are the best positioned to understand and address them, and we partner with others to sow and nurture the seeds of a strong, vibrant community by promoting civic participation and leadership, fostering belonging, connection, and inclusion, increasing access to opportunities and advance upward mobility, and seeing and dismantling barriers that hold inequities in place. We are guided in our work by the strategic framework, which requires us to be bold, optimistic, and responsive to the voices of those most affected by challenges in our community. Rebecca, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, Hamatakiapi. Hello, everyone. The Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community is a federally recognized Dakota tribe. We're located in the Southwest metro area. We are known for a lot of things, but known for our philanthropy. Here in Minnesota, we contribute to a lot of different organizations, causes, and support other tribal nations here in Minnesota and across the country. We do a lot of restoration work here on our native lands, restoring prairies. We just reintroduced bison to the Southwest Minnesota here on our reservation land. So yeah, that's a little bit about the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community.
Rebecca, would you like to explain the Understand Minnesota?
Absolutely. So thank you all for being here and your interest in the mini grant program. The mini grants are part of a larger campaign known as Understand Native Minnesota. This is our second strategic campaign here at SMSC. And it's a philanthropic campaign with the goal of improving the narrative about Native Americans in our K-12 school system. We started this campaign in 2019. Committing $5 million to do what we can to move the needle on that narrative in our school systems. We did a lot of listening sessions to try to understand, what the gaps were, understand what teachers need in the classrooms, talked to a ton of folks, had a ton of listening sessions, got some really great information, and we took that information along with some research, and Odia, who you'll hear from later, helped develop a report called Restoring Our Place. And in that report, it kind of outlines some key initiatives that we need to focus on. And one of those initiatives is curriculum development. So as part of the campaign, we are hoping teachers will utilize this opportunity to beef up resources in their classroom using these mini grants. And hopefully, this effort will produce a whole bunch of material that I'm hoping educators will share amongst themselves. At SMSC, we are not experts in the education field, and so we feel strongly that working with those of you that are will lead to the best outcomes. And as Josh said, the Minneapolis Foundation kind of shares that philosophy, so we're honored to partner with them to offer this mini grant program to educators under the Understand Native Minnesota program.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Did anyone else have any comments they would like to share on the importance or the partnership?
Well, I definitely would like to share the importance again and really want to thank Rebecca and the other leadership at Shakopee, Mdewakanton, Sioux community in selecting the Minneapolis Foundation to help elevate and lift and be able to be part of this grant-making program. Again, this is a program of the tribal community, and having this opportunity to partner as a community foundation and being able to provide this access across the state is very exciting and a huge accomplishment also for us. I just wanted to say a little bit more about us as the Minneapolis Foundation, and as I recognize the philanthropic work that Shakopee has done and has led as a standard when we're talking about similar tribes and relating what they've been able to do with their gaming enterprise. Shakopee has led the way in philanthropy, not only for when we think of other tribal communities that have this opportunity to provide dollars to their own communities, but share it with other communities. They have led not only within tribal communities, but I would say generally across philanthropy as a whole. So again, it's a great and distinct honor to be part of this partnership. And just a little bit more about the Minneapolis Foundation, as Josh had said, we were incorporated and started in 1915, so we're 109 years old. But most of our growth, has happened probably in the last, I'd say 30 years, basically. Right now, we manage, our assets are about $1 billion. We grant out $90 million a year in grants, and this will be added to that effort. This $500,000 is going to be huge for us to be able to be part of that and adding that to this portfolio. But our funds are created through donors. So we have fund holders that invest funds here that help us to do this work across the community. And that represents about 1,500 different funds. So this, again, is just a great, and we really acknowledge this opportunity to work on this particular area of focus. And as it talked about education and introducing Native curriculum across the state of Minnesota, this is one of the grant opportunities that brings us added joy. And seeing some of the applications that have come in as well really demonstrates the interest, the desire, and the appreciation coming from teachers as well. I'll turn it back to you, Josh.
Thank you, Joanne. Next, we'll move into more specifics about the grant program, starting with the program goals. So there are 5 top primary goals for this grant cycle. The first is to promote the acquisition and use of Native-specific resources in classrooms and libraries. The second is to develop a new standard-aligned curriculum resources. The third is to support educators in attending high-quality Native-specific professional development. The fourth is to support experiential learning opportunities both in and out of the classroom. And the final program goal is to implement the best practices for Native students. Next, what we will fund. Proposals should align with at least one or more of the 5 categories that we stated in the program goals. These align directly with the goals. So number 1, resources and/or materials for the classroom that address current or upcoming Minnesota state academic standards. Number 2, professional development that specifically focuses on Native content or best practices for working with Native students. Number 3, classroom projects or experiential learning opportunities that expand classroom learning about Native content. Number 4, curriculum and resources development that meets current or upcoming Minnesota State academic standards. And the last is other activities which are consistent with the goal of teaching Native content more accurately and comprehensively. So again, your proposals should align with one or more of these categories to receive funding. For example, some possible teacher-directed projects include, but not limited to, the cost of attending workshops or conferences, tuition for a Native American Studies course, development for new curriculum, compensation for Native experts, elders, and knowledge keepers to collaborate on curriculum writing. There's also the opportunity for classroom-directed projects, such as books, videos, and other instrumental resources, field trips, including transportation, engagement with Native experts or elders and knowledge keepers as classroom presenters, and we listed as other, but other specific classroom projects that you identify. Just a note, we will not fund equipment such as furniture, computers, or other technology. So we'll dig into more specifics about this funding opportunity. Who is eligible to apply? We will consider requests from educators, groups of collaborating educators, and schools statewide. I want to emphasize that this is for K-12 schools throughout Minnesota, not limited to the metro area. And I've gotten the question, what is an educator? It's a broad definition. We just want to say it's a person that educates, potentially a teacher, a principal, or other person involved in planning or directing education. I want to also remind you that there is one award per application. So if you are applying as a group of collaborating educators, the max award, as we'll see, is $2,000 per application. And so that will have to be split amongst the collaborating educators. Non-eligible organizations include, but are not limited to, adult education, including GED, ESL, or other high school level adult education. Homeschools are also ineligible, as well as nonprofits, even if they work with educators or employ educators. This does include outdoor schools. We've had a couple inquiries about that. Again, please reach out to myself or Odia if you have any specifics in determining your eligibility. And for the school types, as you see here, we are offering this opportunity to all public, tribal, charter, and private schools.
Josh, there is a question that asks about our pre-K schools, like school readiness eligible?
Mhm.
And I would say, again, we are looking specifically at kindergarten through 12.
Thank you for that, Joanne. As we move on here to the program summary, these are the top level numbers for the program, which include the budget at $500,000. And that is for this cycle of mini grants in 2024, with awards up to $2,000 per application. And again, that's per application. We're expecting to award 250 or more grants this cycle, depending on the award amount per application. And the deadline is fast approaching, and January 22nd at 1 p.m. So please don't wait until the last second to complete and submit your application. This will allow us to help with any technical issues or eligibility issues that you may have questions on. We do not have 24-hour technical service. All applicants will be notified of funding decisions around mid-March. with the grant funds needing to be spent on or before December 31st, 2024. The applications will be reviewed through a two-step process of an eligibility review here within the Minneapolis Foundation using our staff, and a community review, which will contain members of the broader community, including tribal members. All grant recipients will be required to submit a post-grant report to the Minneapolis Foundation by January of 2025. Once the funds have been expensed, this report will include your budgeted versus actual expenses, expense receipts, and a description of the deliverables, outcomes, and lessons learned. All right, let's see. I will be stopping my share, and I will be turning over to my colleague, Maria, who will be walking through the portal login and application process.
Thank you, Josh. Just give me 1 second to open this up. So first I'm going to be walking you through how to register, and then how to log in. I will share my screen and show that live. So one very important thing is that applications must be submitted through our application portal, which you can find at minneapolisfoundation.org. You will need to register yourself and your school district if your school district is not already in our system. The application or the registration is a two-step process. I'll show you the details in a second. And then we are available for assistance, not 24 hours, but we will get back to you within 24 hours at grantsupport@mplsfoundation.org. Here we go. So to register, you're going to go to our website, hit the login button, and then there is a link to register yourself. That will bring you to this screen where you're going to fill out first name, last name, email address. And then from here, you will be sent an email. This takes around 10 minutes for the email to come. That's why I'm not showing it to you live and I have slides. But when you get the email, you're going to hit this link and that will bring you to this page where you're going to add your password, date of birth, address, other different information about yourself. And from there, you will be asked to connect to your organization. You can search for your organization here to see if it already exists. I recommend searching by both your district name and your district number to see if it is already in the system. So in the case of Minneapolis Public Schools, I can search Minneapolis Public Schools, or I can search Special School District 1, and both it will come up. If you are a small school district not close to us, it's very likely we don't have you in our system and you'll have to follow that additional process. But once you select your school district, you're going to hit add myself as grant admin, and then that will bring you and give you access to the grantee dashboard. Where you can see on the left-hand side is a link to get you to the mini grants application. Okay, let me get to our website and I can show you how to log in. So this is the Minneapolis Foundation website. The login button is here on the right. It will bring you to this screen where you are able to log in. This is going to bring you to a two-factor authentication. And then, so when you're registering, make sure that the number that you're registering with is a cell phone number that will allow you to use this two-factor authentication. It's going to send you a 7-digit code to your phone, which now I have to wait just a second for. It is not an immediate thing. I still have not got it. It does take a second. I'm gonna try it one more time. Our system can be finicky. Quite honestly, it's finicky for me too. And it might take a second to get through these little details. I am having issues receiving the token. I think we should go to questions from now on, and if I receive the token, we can come back to this, Josh.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
All right. So we had one question, Odia, I believe maybe you could help with this one. Do you have recommendations for high quality native specific professional development?
Of course. Hi, Debbie. I was going to do a little typey type quick answer, and then I realized nothing that I have to say is ever quick. So thanks for the opportunity. So we have a publication coming out soon. I say soon because it's currently in layout and I'm told it's quite lengthy. If you saw the Restoring Our Place report that I authored, there at the back of that is a list of books that I recommended and my advisory team recommended for use in classrooms. We decided to go above and beyond with that. And I've created some narrative at the beginning, common themes, some language things, authors and illustrators from around the 11 tribal communities. And then I have, let's say it's 530 books at the back of that. And I've looked at the Minnesota ELA standards and I've given suggestions for books I would use to meet those standards. And then you can look at lists. So if you're like, wow, I really want a Dakota perspective, you can go to that list and those books on there have already been sorted. Or, wow, I really want a native authored mystery. You can open to that list and see that. So I've tried to make it as seamless as possible. Regarding actually working and creating curriculum, I'm happy to be a resource if you have ideas that you want to bounce off. I would recommend Darlene St. Clair's Native Native Studies Summer Workshop for Educators. Holy cow. NSSWE, NSSWE. She offers it at the end of June every year. She travels around to different tribal communities and it's a 5-day workshop. And everyone who has taken it has raved about it. And it isn't specifically about curriculum and writing curriculum, but the information that you receive from there will definitely impact how you see and think about what you teach in classes. So I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you. We have some more questions here. Where is this information you just listed up?
So that list, I'm told it is a 120-page document. So thank you to Shakopee Marketing, who's going to be doing layout and copy editing of that. I am going to see a draft, I'm told. I will see a draft copy of it next week. So if you currently do not receive updates from Understand Native Minnesota, if you go to the www.understandnativemn.org There's a little like get involved or stay updated in the upper right-hand corner. Sign up for that and you will be notified via email immediately when that comes out. End of the month. That's my goal. So we also, I will say, have a super cool document about essential understandings also coming out. That was authored by Ramona Keto Stately. And that sort of, I would say that's your primer for these are the things the tribes want you to teach about each of their communities. And it is in a easy to digest categories, definitely worth your time. It will also be coming out near the end of the month, so you'll get notified about both of those. So please sign up on the Understand Native MN. Yes, all that information on the website. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Odia. We also have a question. Can multiple sites within one school district be funded? And yes, that is an option. Yes.
I saw a question earlier up and it said something about, are we limiting the funds based on like, oh, there's more people in the metro? No, not at all. We want to make sure this is shared broadly across metro and rural districts. So please, there has been no differentiation between who gets what cut of the pie. It is free for all. So please encourage all of your colleagues to apply.
And to add on to that, we really are looking at where the distribution of the applications are coming in, and we'll be monitoring that to make sure that there is a balance. We recognize there are probably more districts in the 7-county area that would be applied, but our priority is to really make this a statewide program. And pleased to note that most of the applications that have been submitted and that are in process are beyond the 7-county area. So we're very encouraged about that. There was also a question about wanting to take a group of students to Mount Rushmore for a visit. And I replied in saying our focus is on Minnesota history and how that relates to where we are and place in our proximity right here. So I would say that would not be one that would fit the criteria for this particular application. There was also a question of a person who's either a substitute teacher or a consultant and wanting to know if they're eligible to apply. If you're a substitute teacher, it'd be very difficult to determine on how you would be able to implement something like this in a classroom. You're not necessarily in the classroom on a regular basis. Another question is, as a consultant, if there's a teacher that wants to bring you in to work on a project, the applicant is the teacher in that school, but you cannot apply as a consultant.
There's also another question here about whether or not this Zoom will be shared. And yes, once we conclude with this, we have a saved recording and we'll be getting that to our marketing communications team. That will be put on our website and also YouTube, I believe. So you will be able to go back and look at it again.
I wanted to say thank you to the anonymous attendee who posted the link to stay updated. So in that chat, that's where you want to click to make sure you input your info. And I know Minneapolis Public Schools specifically your system does not seem to like some of the emails. So it might behoove you as well to go back and check on the site. On there, you can see Rebecca has a really great podcast as well. I'll give a plug for that, where she interviews a bunch of local Native folks doing great work. And so that also can help inform some of the work that you've been doing.
Josh, can you maybe share some of the questions that you've received when people have called?
Yeah, so I've received some questions regarding outdoor education organizations who employ and work with some teachers, and they were just curious about whether or not their 501c3 nonprofit organization could apply. At this point, we are only looking for educators within the K-12 system. So if those educators that you're working with go into or are also working within a school district, they can apply for their own classroom. However, for your organization, that would not be eligible. Let's see.
Someone asked me for Darlene's name, so it's Darlene St. Clair, CLAIR, and she does the NISWA, the Native Studies Summer Workshop for Educators. And if you type in NSSWE and St. Cloud State, it will pop up.
And then there was just a question about where the information, is this all on our website? Yes, this is all on our website, and as has been said, that we'll have a recording of this, and we'll have the Q&A that we have here and other Q&A that we receive throughout this process available. I do want to point out one thing about this application and draw your attention to, if you haven't gone in to look at it or the preview document, that as a teacher, you can apply as the teacher. We do ask that you get and sign a verification with the principal or the superintendent that they agree with what you are submitting for this project. There is the choice of you receiving the funds directly, and in that case, we will ask you, if you're recommended and approved for funding, to provide a W-9. Or you can also designate that the funds go to your school district or to the actual school. But there could be other charges that the district may apply to manage those funds. We do want you to be aware of that when you're applying.
Yes. I just got a question here about when the funds would need to be expensed by, and that is December 31st of 2024. All right. And then Maria, are you good to go on? Okay, perfect. Let's continue.
Okay, so you can get your two-factor verification code by both text message or call, and call might be more reliable, clearly. We also have another grant program closing today, and I think we're experiencing high traffic causing issues, which is all the more reason to get your application in as soon as possible, because we don't know if something like this is going to happen. We do our best, but you know, it's just best to get it in early. So once you get your token, type it in here. If you're going to be using this on your own personal computer, your school computer, that's just yours. I recommend to register the device. Then you do not have to do two-factor authentication more than once. From here, you're going to hit login. And that is going to bring you to the grantee dashboard. From here, you're able to go to the application 2024 mini grants. And you'll again see our purpose, program goals, what we will fund, who to ask if you have questions, and then a place to start your application. I'll just go what that looks like once we're in. Please follow this naming convention. It will help us keep things organized and straight, especially if there are multiple teachers from the same school. And then from here, you're able to start your application. Click into each tab to enter the information. And then at the end, you will upload these two documents that are required and possible other documents. Once there are green check marks next to each of these sections and your documents are uploaded, there will be a submit button, and that's where you're able to submit your application, and you will receive an email following submission. And if you don't receive that email and you're not sure if you submitted, you can reach out to us. Yeah, technical difficulties happen all the time, and truly it is just the reason to get into work with us, get your application in as soon as possible. Yeah, thank you. Back to questions, Josh?
Let's finish our presentation quick and then we'll get to the questions.
Thanks for being flexible.
Thank you, Maria. All right, so back to the presentation here. Some of the required documents that you'll be needing to submit your application. And then some tips regarding those documents. So for the application, we ask that you upload all of your documents in a PDF form and that they also contain no links to other documents within your server. That way, we're just not able to see those types of documents on our end when they try to reconnect back to your server. So we ask that there's no linked information within budget specifically is where we run into that most often. We also ask that you have a clear and concise project budget. I believe there's a sample project budget Excel spreadsheet on our website. If not, reach out to me and I can send something like that to you. And we also will need a district's letter of agreement and support. So then I've gotten a question on this. What is an administrator and who can sign this document? So it is principal, an assistant principal within your school. It could be a superintendent, an assistant superintendent, anyone that you believe is an administrator. We also have an option for you to upload optional documents such as photos, letters of support, and other letters of collaboration. Just a warning, incomplete and late applications will not be accepted. All right, we are nearing the end of our presentation, but we can go back to the questions. I believe a few have popped up.
So Josh, here I have one that is asking about having an experience and wanting to also take families on the Bdote cultural tour, which is a phenomenal experience. I would stress again here that this is really focusing on K through 12 students in the classroom and the professional development curriculum of the teachers and that experience. And I certainly do see the value of wanting to include families, but I think that's a little bit beyond what the intent of this is.
Thanks, Joanne. And there's a question here about the district letter of agreement. That letter is part of the application. You can download it and just have your administrator sign it if they agree to all of the stipulations regarding accepting funds on your behalf.
But we have another one asking about something similar about taking a field trip, and that there are 3 separate classrooms that are interested in bringing in Native and cultural experts. Should they each apply separately for one grant, or would it be better of submitting one grant for the $2,000 for the max? So I think it's already been said that teachers, multiple teachers in a particular school can apply directly for funds. If it seems like it's the same experience and it's not something that's different and distinct, I would encourage you then to look at that as one application. We're not trying to stack, I guess, try to stack something to include more individuals if it's all kind of that same event. So to get $2,000 versus $6,000 to do that. But and I will give a caveat, as I'm providing these types of questions in real time, there is going to be a review committee we'll accept all applications that come through the door. But the final decisions and making some of these kind of split decisions it really is going to be up to the reviewers that are selected that represent Native educators in the community. Odia or anybody else would like to, add to that, or you can also disagree with me.
All right. There's a question I believe Maria is answering, but can you start the application, save it, and come back? Yes, you can do that. As long as you hit the save button after you've completed a section, you can come back to it.
Yeah, you go to the My Applications tab within the grant portal, and that's where you're able to see applications that you've already started.
Maria, there's also another question here for you. Can administration complete the application?
That is a great question, but I don't know if it's for me. I don't see why not. I think what's important is that the contact information is you. Joanne, if you have a different view on that, not something we've talked through yet.
Right. So I think an example that came to my mind about being aligned with administration, that there are a number of people that work in actually curriculum development in some of the schools and then work with the teachers. So it's the teachers that are collaborating with the curriculum developers on wanting to submit a proposal. So the developers are not necessarily teachers, but they're collaborating. So, and I consider that part of administration. So these are things that, again, we'll have to look at, very closely to see if they're going to fit. But this is kind of the nature of an application. We can't have everything as specific. There are always going to be some of these other questions. And I'd say if you have any doubt, submit. I would say submit, and then you can go through a further review process.
Joanne, I saw a really interesting question from Jill saying, what if two schools submit a similar application, two schools from the same district, which I thought was really quite interesting, actually. I would actually be super transparent if two schools are doing that, and tell us why you're doing that. Is there a reason? Are you hoping to collaborate in some way? Are you hoping to figure something out? Or, is it just two friends who happen to want to plan this together? However you want to do that, I'd be really clear. I don't see that as a detriment to applying. In fact, I think it's a really cool idea. And as a former school teacher, I'm all for being supportive and helping people and making this process easier.
Right. We have another one where right now there's a teacher that's working with sixth grade on a specific project. But they are also working with a team at the high school. Could they apply for another $2,000 grant? I mean, we're going to be matching and seeing who the teachers are and seeing what those programs are as well. If it comes to a decision that we have two with the same teacher as a lead, and we're looking at maybe other funding in other areas, we may not, elevate that and make that a recommendation for funding.
Unless your project's super awesome.
So it could be super awesome to do that.
So I will say, make sure your project's super awesome, but it would probably be better to have someone else be the lead on that group project.
Right.
All right.
Debbie did ask a question about the Niswa 2024 location. As far as I know, that has not been confirmed yet. So Darlene is in the final stages of that, but I believe, oh gosh, I'm trying to think where it was last year. If it was at an Ojibwe community this year, the aim is to do a Dakota one. She likes to alternate. So that at least will help you figure that one out. But Darlene, I can also email Darlene, Debbie, if you want to send me a message. My email is in there somewhere, and also on the grant application page, I can nose around for you too and see when she's that date's going to come out.
Mhm. And then I believe this question, I think it means special ed co-op, if I'm reading this question correctly. As a co-op, can they apply under District 1? Again, I guess, are you teachers? Are you consultants? I don't know the specifics of that. So if you are going to apply, again, this could be a follow-up call with Josh. Or as you get into the application so that we can answer that more specifically. And again, if it's the co-op, those are the questions I'd be asking. Are you certified teachers? Are you in the classrooms on a regular basis? Special ed is included under K through 12. And we'd like to see, again, what's this awesome program, as Odia has said, what would this look like?
So Joanne, is my understanding, and Martin, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here on your behalf. Smaller districts collectively have their special ed professionals that work in a number of districts to help offset some of the expenses of having a special ed department only with a small one. So if that is the case, 100% you're able to apply because you work with school districts. But if you are like a as Joanne said, like a nonprofit or sort of organization that comes in to do that, that would be worth a conversation to have with Joanne or Josh directly. Did we miss any questions? I do want to say to folks, so one of the things we've done through Understanding Native Minnesota, we found in the Restoring Our Place, teachers said, it's really tough to find great resources. We don't know how to vet them. We don't know how to build authentic connections with Native people. Professional development is few and far between. And things cost money, and schools don't always have money. So one of the things that we do, we've got 2 upcoming dates for what we call Educator Academy. They're both held at Mystic Lake Center. One is on Wednesday, February 21st, and the other is Thursday, March 14th. They are not open yet for registration. We just received approval of those dates today. So again, you'll want to go on to the stay updated on understandnativemn.org. And we try to treat you really nicely. Continental breakfast, 2 sessions in the morning, lunch with a session, 2 more in the afternoon. We get some really great folks. It is free of charge. We usually have, between 250 and 300 folks. We offer CEUs. And so really the hook for you is to get here and to make sure that your district allows you I won't say the day off because you don't have the day off, the day out of your classroom. And if folks have questions about that, you can email me directly, but it will be, you'll see something be more formalized on the Understand Native Minnesota page. So hopefully folks can come and join us for that. Rebecca, did you want to say how awesome they are?
They are pretty awesome. And I agree. We definitely try to wine and dine you with good food from Mystic Lake Center, and it's great networking, and we have a just really amazing lineup of speakers and presenters that can help answer questions on curriculum development, direct you towards good resources, Native authors, those kind of resources. So yeah, I wish we could do more of them. One of the questions in the chat was asking if there was going to be another cycle next year. And unfortunately, the Understand Native Minnesota campaign, when we launched it, it was going to be a 2-year campaign, and because of the pandemic, it kind of got extended, but we are currently trying to wrap up this campaign. So there's going to be a kind of a flurry of activity. As you know, Dia said, we've got some more resources coming out, lots of exciting partnerships that are going to be announced. So please stay tuned on the website. We've got some really great things, and I'm hoping that this campaign will have a lasting impact on our K-12 system here in Minnesota. And just, thank you to the whole team, and a huge thank you to the Minneapolis Foundation for partnering with us on these mini grants. I'm really excited about this one. We have so much creativity out there in our educators, and I know we're going to see some amazing resources from this program.
Awesome.
Josh, just to let people know, some people couldn't see some of the answers to the questions. They're live now. Hopefully people can see them, but we will be putting these up on the website. We may have missed some in there, so that you'll be able to see and refer back to that as well.
Yes, and the questions will follow the recording of this presentation. So we are running up around 3:53. Want to be respectful again of everyone's time. If you do have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to myself, Odia, or Maria. All of our contact information is on our website. And maybe someone can throw that link in the chat for everyone. But yeah, please feel free to reach out to us with any of your questions or comments. We look forward to seeing all of your proposals. The ones that have been submitted so far have been excellent. And that's all I have today. If you have anything else, just reach out. We're here to help.
We didn't talk about this in the very beginning, Josh, but we may be sending out a survey so that we can get your feedback, and so that we can always improve on what we're doing on trying to get this information and conveying what the purpose of any of our grant making looks like. So with that, I will say thank you on behalf of the Minneapolis Foundation, and one last time over to you, Rebecca.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, I'll reach out if you have any questions. Happy to answer any specifics.